Hey, happy Friday, everyone. Hope you are doing well. It is the new year, 2026 came in. Uh, Hopefully, it was fun and safe and uh, prosperous for you as you rung in the new year, as you welcomed the new year. And uh, there's a lot of excitement, and at least with me, for what this new year will bring. I think we're all expectant of a great year. So hopefully that's the case with you as well. And this is In the Raw, Unscripted, Unpracticed, Unedited Conversation. We've been talking about the will of God in the new year. What is the will of God in the new year? How do we find the will of God in the new year? And in the last video, we were talking about, that God calls us to a specific calling. He calls us to not a destination, not to a specific, he's not telling us this is where I want you to go. He's calling us to a way of life. He's calling us to have a different way of life. The destination is something that we shouldn't be concerned with right now. I think many of us, we want to know the destination and we want the details and we want to know where we're going. I think that's normal. It's natural that we want to do that, but we need to understand that God is not calling us to a destination. He is calling us to a way of life. And one of the best examples I can find is, one of the best biblical examples is the life of Abraham in Genesis chapter 12. It's a fascinating story. Suddenly, out of nowhere, God appears in Abraham's life, and he tells him this. This is in Genesis 12:1. Leave your native country, your relatives, and your father's family, and go to the land that I will show you. Abram, he was called Abram before he was called Abraham. At this point, he's called Abram. He didn't know the destination. He did not know where he was going. God only told him, I want you to leave your way of life. I have a new way of life for you. I want you to leave your old values, your old customs, even your gods, because Abraham's father worshiped other gods. And he told him, leave all that behind because there's something new I have for you, a new way of living. I want you to go to another place, and I'm not going to tell you where. I can imagine Abraham, he was wanting to know where, just like any one of us would want to know. And he's kind of uneasy about this. But, God said, I will let you know when you get there. And this is what God tells Abram in this passage. He just says, go, leave the past and enter something new. So the call was not as much to a destination, but rather to a new way of life. The most important thing for God was Abram's faith, the character that he was being developed in him. God said, go, and Abram went, trusting in God, and God said, that man, Abraham, is my friend. God called him his friend because Abraham believed God. He had faith in God. He didn't question him. Even though he might have had doubts, even though he might have had his reservations, he said, I'm just going to obey. I'm going to trust, and I'm going to have faith that what God is telling me, he's not going to let me down. But, Abraham made some mistakes, just like all of us. We all make mistakes. You can read his story in the Bible, starting with this chapter 12 in Genesis. But although he made mistakes, he wanted what God wanted for him. And God continued to call him friend, even though he made mistakes. And that is what God looked for in Abraham. That's why he honored him. He honored his heart. Even when Abraham made mistakes and deviated from God's plan, God did not abandon him. He simply put him back on the path that he had laid out for him. Why? Because Abraham knew God's will for his life. Here's another passage that talks about destinations. Proverbs 3:6. It says, seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. Seek his will. It says, in everything you do, seek his will. This means that in all your decisions, in all your situations you face, all the challenges you have in all your ways, ask God, what should I do? Simple question. God, what should I do here? What decision should I make? Should I react to this? This is seeking God's will. That's what it means to seek God's will. And this is what this passage says. Let's read it again. It doesn't say, well, let's read it again. It says, seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. It doesn't say he will show you the final destination. It doesn't tell you he will give you details. It says he will show you which path to take, right? When you have when you're faced with a choice, with a decision, you have different paths that you might want to take. But when you seek God, when you ask him, when you consider him, he's going to say, it's not this one, it's not this one, it's this one right here. He will show you which path to take. He's not talking about destinations. And look how it's written in another version. Keep God in mind in everything you do, and he will help you live rightly. That's what that means, live rightly. In other words, he's going to show us how to live. The point I want to make with this is that our way of living is more important than our final destination. Where you arrive is not as important to God as how you get there. Let that sink in. Where you arrive is not as important to God as how you get there. And I'll end it right here for today. We will continue this in the next videos. So make sure that you stay tuned. All right. Have an amazing Friday, an amazing weekend, and we will talk to you soon.